Hi everyone, how are you today? This is Angelica. Thank you so much for watching this video. This video is going to be called, what is it going to be called? Okay, I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but I will title it, and it will be around this particular theme that I'm about to talk about. I just had a realization that a lot of things that I have experienced during my childhood and the things that have happened to me in my particular life, in my early adult life, and all the times that I've suffered greatly have been for a reason, thankfully, which I already kind of knew because I always like to be positive about things and know that there's a silver lining, you know. I mean, there has to be a reason for this. But I think a lot of people that are on like a spiritual path and that have awakened, not all the time. So this isn't for everyone, but a lot of times spiritual people will have gone through very traumatic experiences and have very deep childhood wounds. And you may ask yourself, well, you know, if I'm a good person and I have a loving heart, and I'm doing the right thing, and all I want is for everyone to be happy and feel love, then why did I have to go through such pain? And of course, you know, over the years, I've thought to myself, well, you know, so I can help others who are going through similar pain. Well, just like a week ago or a few days ago, time to me is not really, I can't really understand time necessarily at this moment, especially when I'm going through these processes and these things, whatever you want to call them. But I just had a realization, and I always knew that like it felt like I was transmuting energy from like, you know, dysfunctional patterns and stuff outside of me. And I thought, oh, it's interesting because I'm purging my own pain from my own childhood, and at the same time transmuting pain out there in the world, because I'm like this like vessel for spirit, and I ask, you know, God, the universe, just you can use me as your vessel in however you need me to be of service to humanity. So the realization was that these two are very closely linked. The pain that I've gone through, and then the character flaws, if you want to call them that, or the from my pain that I've experienced, and now the dysfunctional patterns that play out in my life, these are closely connected and intimately related to these dysfunctional patterns in humanity. So, before I didn't have a good like understanding of what was actually taking place, and now I still don't have it all figured out. I just keep figuring out more and more and more. More understanding for me is wonderful. I love to try to understand these things, and that's what I do on these videos. I tell you about my experiences and tell you about, you know, the things that have come from those experiences. And the reason that I do that is so that it can help you on your path, possibly get through something more quickly and not have to, you know, suffer as much if you have this understanding in your own life. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about the exact circumstance or the exact situation that played out. Like this was like a few days ago, 4 or 5 days ago. I'm usually a really nurturing, loving, giving, caring mother. For the most part, I am always like, you know, making sure my kids are okay and stuff like that. But I did notice that I noticed a little bit of an interesting thing where me and my boys have been having some issues coming up. And my boys are, one of them's almost 15, and then my middle boy is almost 11. So they're kind of going through this thing where they're really becoming more hormonal. And so they're really pushing the boundaries with me. And it's similar to when they were like right around like 2 or so, 2 and 3, or it was mainly like 2, 1.5, 2, where they were really pushing these same kinds of buttons. Anyway, it just I came to this realization that when I get pushed so much, my unhealthy responses from childhood start to come up. So my son, my older son, was doing his algebra homework, and I was like, okay, I'll help you with your homework, let's work out the problem, and just doing everything with him, being there for him, but was completely neglecting all the things that I had to do because he had a very careless attitude, saying he hated his math teacher and she gives too much homework, and had one earphone in listening to music at the same time, one earphone out, saying I work better when I have the music playing, but yet 3 hours had passed, and he basically, he was the only reason he was getting any of the work done was because I was like doing every single problem pretty much for him. And so I get myself stuck in these little things where I really want him to do well in school, but I cannot do his homework for him. And I guess it was like late, it was around 11 o'clock. And so I was starting to get really, upset. And so when we get pushed to that level, or we are really tired, this is when our most dysfunctional, stuff comes out. So I had to take all of his stuff. I had to take his phone and his computer, and and then when it comes to that, then there's a big problem because he definitely doesn't like that. So, it was a big problem. It was not fun or easy. And this is where I realized as he was expressing kind of dysfunctional masculine energy towards me, and I was displaying my own dysfunctional masculine energy right back to him, which I had learned from my childhood, which had been passed on through my son, because we don't know other ways to behave. So when he came kind of close to me saying, give me my stuff back, I was like, oh, no way, I'm not giving you your stuff back. And it was kind of like, it was really not good. So anyway, it was not a good evening, and it didn't turn out well. And I went through the whole next day like processing what actually was taking place. And I have to do that in order to understand what's actually happening. And what actually was happening was I have been being, now that I realize it, being both using dysfunctional feminine and dysfunctional masculine energies in a certain sense when it comes to my boys, because I was like first enabling him by doing his math homework for him, and then getting upset that he wouldn't do the math homework instead of just being like balanced and okay, these are the rules, this is what we do, and you do it or you don't do it, that's your deal, right? So I mean, I could have handled it better. But it's almost like I had to really harmonize and come to terms with these deeper levels of dysfunction that were still there, that were kind of playing out between me and my sons. And it's a good thing that they're really standing up to me so that I can kind of go to these levels with them, even though it's like our children choose us. They choose their path. I chose my family, and they do this for a specific reason. They're such gifts and so loving and wonderful for taking this on. Anyway, I realized as I was kind of feeling those dysfunctional patterns, those dysfunctional masculine energies in me, and the dysfunctional, codependent, enabling mother energies, woman, feminine energies, how these had to kind of come into balance with each other and become healthy again, if that makes sense. So this took a few days of really feeling. And like I said, I was feeling it within me from my childhood, the things that had gone on, the things that had played out. You know, my father being the powerful, dysfunctional, like abusive person, and then my mother being the weak, codependent enabler. Um, and me having to go through that thing with my son, and then through the next day, really recognizing that maybe that I'm not handling these situations in the correct way. So this is how we learn. And at the same time as I was learning this, it was harmonizing a pattern out there in our regular society to start living a different way, to start really recognizing these patterns, and to be able to go out in the world and even doing it in your own home with your own kids, having a different way of relating, so that heals one of those patterns. And that's what we're all doing in our spiritual awakening, in our journeys every day. As we heal, the world heals. So we will oftentimes come into what will come into our experience are things that we have suffered with in the past. And if it doesn't feel good, then it's something that needs to be looked at. If it's not feeling right, if it's not working anymore, then it needs to be transformed. So it took a while to come to the realization, but your childhood is directly linked to what you are preparing yourself to bring into balance in humanity. That's the bottom line. So you can be very happy and blessed that you had the childhood that you had. No matter how bad it was, you're here to put an end to that kind of destruction, put an end to that, those things that others weren't able to. And it takes a very strong person to be able to do that, because you not only have to feel it then and go through it then, but you also have to come into spiritual awareness and then deal with it again in your own life as it's coming back up, and then finally healing it in the bigger scope of things on the planet. We're all doing this on the planet now so that we can bring this love here now. Anyway, it's a never-ending, process. This is what we're doing. This is the work. We signed up for this. We volunteered for this, and we will continue to do this work, and we will support each other in that process. And I love all of you, and no matter how hard your life has been, I want you to know that it's been for a reason. There is a silver lining. The silver lining is that we're transforming the planet, and this planet needs us, not the planet itself. The destructive patterns of the people that live on the planet is what needs to be transformed, and that's within us and without. That's both. See, it's like an infinity symbol. Okay, well, I love you guys so much, and I hope that you have learned something from this video. I just really want to be able to share my experiences with you, things that I'm going through on a daily basis, in hopes that it may make you recognize some things that are going on in your life that maybe you didn't have awareness about before. I love you so much, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.